and we are live.
Okay, it's 4:06. It's Wednesday, May 13th, and we're meeting remotely via Zoom, the City Council Ad Hoc Committee to interview a candidate for the Williamsport Municipal Water and Sewer Authority, combined authorities. And today we're interviewing Laura Templeton, Regional Manager at RETU, and I think all of us, I'm pretty sure all of us are well acquainted with Laura, and we welcome this opportunity to this interview, and we welcome you today, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you for having
me here. The reason we have a special ad hoc committee of all of council for the interviews for this particular commission, and it's the only one that's handled like this, because of the unique nature that you're well aware of that this commission holds as far as protecting our vital infrastructure and our most valuable, I think, resource that we have in the region, our water. So we instituted this and put it in a separate case because unlike other commissions and committees, once you're appointed, you are in charge of that authority on that board, in charge of that infrastructure and the decisions made. So it's really a unique position, and we need valuable, experienced, capable people to fill those. And most of us have known you for a while, and we know you fit that bill pretty well. So I'll turn it over to you, Laura, if you want to make any introductory statements or anything like that, and then the members of the committee of council may have some questions. So, welcome.
Of course. Thank you, President Allison. I would say that while you had introduced me as a member of the RETU staff, and which is an engineering company here, really I'm here as a member of the RETU community, and I care very much for, as a member of the Williamsport community, and I've been a resident here since 2011, and I think Williamsport is a really special place with a really special history, and has a really valuable future ahead of it, and that's why I'm here. And I think it's a really important time to contribute to the well-being of the community. And that's really my purpose in looking to serve the community in some additional way. And I think that a way that I can use some of my knowledge and information and my care for the community is through the vacancy that exists potentially on the board of directors at the Water and Sanitary Authority. But I really do think the reason I moved to Williamsport, I was actually supposed to move here on a temporary basis, but I asked to move to Williamsport on a permanent basis because I think it's such a special place, and I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it attractive for businesses, for residents. I want to keep it affordable, safe. I want to keep the economic development going for businesses, for industry, and having that infrastructure in place, keeping rates affordable to ratepayers, whether it's residents or businesses. That's all part of that. And so that's really the reason that I want to serve, because I want to keep this such a special place and keep it growing.
Thank you, Laura. Very admirable ideals, and we certainly appreciate it. I'll open it up to the floor if anybody would care to. Bonnie.
Laura, we've known you for quite some time. I think I met you 1 week after you hit the boots running here in town. And what was so impressive for me anyhow is that you got involved in so many things immediately. You saw the love you had for this city with everything that you got involved with. You even got involved in special events. but working for Ritu, you're also aware of the water in the city. So you know where problems lay. You also are very versed in what goes on with pipes and pumps, which a lot of other people would not be familiar with. So I am pleased. I'm really pleased that you are going to do this, because you are a perfect fit for the Water Authority, and really, really pleased with this. And I do want to thank you, because I know you are involved in so many other things, Laura, and to agree to a position on the Water Authority is admirable. It really is, because you do put a lot of time and effort into so many different organizations throughout the city. And so you're going to bring your knowledge, your personality, and your love of the city, which is all we need at this point. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonnie. So one of the things that I do try to make sure is that I never want to try to take on something new if I don't think I have the time and the resources to put toward it to do a good job. So I did meet with Mayor Slaughter and talk through some things, and I had some questions about the time that was needed to dedicate to it. And he put me in touch with Mike Miller at the authority as the manager there. And then also I had further questions, and I asked for permission to talk to Andre Phillips. I knew Andre previously because we were members together in the Manufacturers and Business Association, had an office, a presence here in the city on Reach Road. And so I reached out to Andre and asked her about her time investment now, the authority. So I feel comfortable in terms of the investment made, and I never try to join more than one new thing a year. So this will be my new thing that I would be joining this year. I'm still maintaining other things like the advisory board for the Salvation Army here and the Multiple Sclerosis Society Community Council, but that's sort of how I gauge things in terms of learning something new, getting up to speed, and maintaining my commitments. I don't want to overcommit, but like I said, this is something I feel like I think I have something to give to the community, and it's very important, but I want to make sure I can do a good job at it for the ratepayers in the community also.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question or comment?
Well, I should probably comment, Randy, and say that I'm very sorry that I was late, Laura. And I apologize. We just started back to work here today at the restaurant, and there's been a bunch of stuff going on, and I completely forgot. I'm also very excited that you're interested in serving on the Water Authority. I think that you would be a real asset to the authority, to the water and sewer authorities. Have we discussed the concept of a stormwater authority at this interview so far, Randy?
No, we haven't, Liz.
Then I guess the one thing that I would say is I don't know if you came up against it in your discussions with Derek or with Mike Miller, but one of the projects that we've been hoping to start working on through the water and sewer authorities is the creation of a stormwater authority that would help manage the city's stormwater needs and the city's stormwater infrastructure independently of the city's budget, which of course operates exclusively on a property owner taxpayer basis, and really stormwater should be more of a fee oriented structure. So I don't know to what extent you're familiar with the concept of. I would assume you're very familiar with the concept of stormwater management. To what extent you're familiar with the concept of stormwater authorities in the Commonwealth? But if you can talk to us a bit about how you feel about those, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm familiar with, I believe it's Act 68, which was signed into law by Corbett at the time, that allowed the formation of stormwater authorities in Pennsylvania. And that allows either municipalities to form stormwater authorities or existing authorities in Pennsylvania to amend their charter to allow for to allow stormwater functions under their charter as well, and for the creation of some type of funding source, and also then the planning and implementation of projects for stormwater management, because of course the cost of those types of projects is ever mounting and needs to be planned and programmed with funding. So yes, I'm familiar with that, and I think you know, one of the things that comes with that, for it to be done properly and to be handled well in a community, in some communities really, I think it doesn't go off well because of it, is the communications aspect of this. I think it's important to understand that a lot of that has to do with, just like on the water authority and the sanitary authority side, there's stormwater infrastructure that has to be maintained. And I don't know if it was Bonnie that mentioned, you know, the pipes and pumps. And just like there's pipes and pumps with water and sanitary, there's also infrastructure that has to be maintained with stormwater. And so sometimes you hear people say, well, it's just a rain tax. Well, no, it's not just a rain tax, because we see when there's not proper infrastructure in place to handle stormwater, the impacts to the community, whether it's impacts from failures in infrastructure, or the infrastructure wasn't in place in the first place to anticipate when there's more stormwater runoff and so forth. So I think it's really changing that mindset and making sure that the communications are there as to the cost of the infrastructure necessary for stormwater, and also implementing the proper best management practices and all those things that go along with it.
Thanks very much, Laura. Yeah, I think that's really key. And we had initiated this process with the Water Authority probably at least 5 years ago now. And initially there was a lot of really good communication and back and forth between the community, especially some of the stakeholders that were going to be paying for stormwater as a fee, who wouldn't have been paying for it as a tax. And it seemed as though we were working on getting everybody on board, but the process had gotten a little bit derailed, and I think we're trying to get it back on track and just sort of understand the implications, both for the water and sewer authorities and of course for the city. Most of the implications for the city are very positive, of course, I think the one thing that we've sort of been asking of all the people we've interviewed for the water authority boards, for the authorities boards in the last year or so, is do you think that you could support the creation of a stormwater authority under the auspices of the water and the sewer authority?
Yes.
Understanding that you'd have to do your legwork, you'd have to do your investigation, you'd have to see if you thought it was the best idea. But on kind of first blush, does it seem to you like a wise decision for the city?
Yeah, I mean, in full disclosure, I was involved with actually submitting a proposal to the authority for the formation of the authority and investigation of a fee structure back in 2015 or 2016.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so you're very familiar with the concept then. We're not as privy to the authority's business as we are to our own, of course, so I didn't know that, but all right, well, thank you.
That was prior to a lot of changeover in the staff, so I don't know that anybody who's on staff there would even be familiar with what we had.
I think John Baker and Wendy, there are a couple of people there who are part of the old guard.
Right.
And everyone's familiar with the plan that was created, I think, at that time. But there obviously has been a lot of changeover and a lot of changeover in the thought process in the meantime. That's all for me for right now, Randy. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions.
There is a resolution sitting on Joe Orso's desk for the past year and a half for them to approve. They have stalled, the water authority has really stalled the stormwater. So I think we'd all appreciate revisiting this so we can get it on track, because we are on a time limit with this. We really are. So we should, Laura, we're hoping that this gets, Mike Miller and I have talked about this. we're hoping that this will get started up again now that, once everything is pretty well back to normal, so we can get this back on track, because it is vitally important at this point.
And just to follow up, this is Derek with Bonnie and Liz. I did touch base with Mike Miller now that we have an engineer on staff too, to get this ball rolling again here once we're, as Bonnie said, as we start to get on the other side of things here.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's vitally important. I mean, there is a time limit, and I don't think people realize that. And I mean, South Williamsport has theirs in order. They more or less took our plan, okay? And Laura, I think if you look back at that, I think you would realize that also. So I think, there's a lot that we all know that was already put in place. It's just retweaking a lot of things at this point and getting it back on track.
Okay.
Yep, and John Sander, he's ready to dive in on this too as well. So I brought him up to speed a little bit, and I told him, it's just another item here that we need to get going with.
I think my knowledge of Act 68 and the steps that are necessary for the formation of a water authority and the implementation, the whole process, I think that could be helpful in moving that forward.
Looking forward to it, Laura.
Anybody else? One other thing we've talked about, Laura, is there's a conjunction of the stormwater, of course, with the levee system. I mean, it's really a water issue, and everything that's, whether it's infrastructure or the levee system, it's all tied together. And that's levee's more of a regional approach, although the water authority is regional as well. So there's some intersections there. And some point we'll have further discussions with the authority, or we're not quite sure how that's all going to work together, but because we do have the funds getting lined up for the levee to make all the repairs and everything, but as we've seen with any kind of infrastructure, you really have to have an ongoing plan to repair, the maintenance, and keep up with things. And that's another thing. I'm sure you're well aware of all that and how that all ties together, but we've discussed that a lot and probably will in the future as well.
Well, I would, I can't say that I've kept up with all the details on how the funding has come together, but I was very heartened to hear that it all come together. And I know that would seem to be one of the biggest challenges to overcome. And I know that I've seen that on the agendas that, and I knew that was going to be a big issue. And of course, that's a huge part of the overall infrastructure as well, to in terms of flood control for the city. And obviously that's important in terms of flood insurance and economic development, and it all ties together as part of the overall system and the critical infrastructure that the authority is responsible for, would be responsible for.
Absolutely. I guess I think we've covered everything, unless anybody has anything else to offer. And we'll be, Liz?
Oh, I was going to say, well, I don't particularly. I would say that we have a number of really exceptionally competent members on the boards of the water and sewer authorities right now, and we're fortunate in that. But there is still a strong learning curve whenever someone becomes a member, and it's nice to have a sense, Laura, with you that the learning curve will be a little less steep, I think, due to your expertise, already both in life and in work. So we really appreciate your willingness to serve in this capacity, or I really appreciate your willingness to serve in this capacity, and you taking the time to talk to us today.
Well, I appreciate all of your time as well. I know you're very, very busy, and appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, I try to fit the ways in which I can serve the community best with my skill set, my knowledge set, and if you feel that it's a good fit, I would give you the opportunity to serve the ratepayers in the community, and work with all of you to do so.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, Mayor Slaughter,
Yes,
do we have one more appointment to make?
we
One
have,
or two?
I believe 2, but.
Two.
Hold on a sec. Let me- I have it on my computer. Hold on.
We were talking about that.
I'm on my phone at the moment.
Oh, that's okay. You can.
Hang on. Now I can get it here in 2 seconds. I believe it's 2.
Okay.
But it may only be 1. So yeah, we
put Dr. Trachte on and
right.
now.
So it looks as we so we would have Iderson's spot and Steve. Maybe hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I think 3 more actually. Steve, Iderson, and Cindy.
That was what I was thinking, that we had 4 vacant to start with. So this
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
3.
There's 3. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, chipping away at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I've reached out to a few. One has to check his work schedule and he's going to get back with me.
Okay.
And so, but if anybody has any suggestions, I know a few have reached out to me with names and I'm reaching out to people too. So just keep them coming.
Sounds good. Thanks, Derek.
Will I sign
Yeah,
off?
thank you. And thanks, Laura. Thank you too, Laura. I appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time.
Laura.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks. Take care.
See you all
Yeah.
tomorrow.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Hey, Derek.
Yes.
One name that I'd heard bandied about, although I've not spoken to him about it directly in a while, was Carl Fisher from Alabaster.
Yes, I spoke with Carl. He's one of the ones that is considering.
Okay. And somebody had also suggested one of the Trowbridges.
I have not reached.
Either Alice or her husband.
Okay. No, I have not spoken to them. I had not heard that, but I can reach out to Alice.
Yeah. I mean, once again, I mean, these are all just names people have kind of,
Yeah.
or I have no idea if they'd actually be interested, but,
Right.
and then I'll keep
The
thinking
other
on-
one was Matt Rebar, but
Yeah.
he's the one that's got to check his work schedule.
Got it.
He took on a new job.
Hey, one other quick question for you on a real random note.
Yes.
Do you guys want to stay in the public meeting?
What's that? Oh,
Or still
yeah.
live?
Oh, yeah, true. Okay.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm just reminding you.
Yeah, well, it's a good point, Chris. I'm being a spaz here. No, we don't need to stay in a public meeting. I think we can close it down.
Mr. Allison?
No, we don't want to stay in public.
Okay.
Do you just want to adjourn this meeting then and we can just stay on, Randy?
Yes.